Hi, it's Sandy, and today I am coming to you with my January wrap up and my February TBR. So just as a quick upfront, I managed to read 120 books last year, and I am so proud of that, more proud than you can imagine. And I discovered so many books that I tried for the first time. Books in verse that I loved, and I'm so glad I did. So hopefully, carrying on in that vein, this year I will be trying to read books that I maybe wouldn't immediately pick up anyway. So this year I plan to try and read 52 books, which is one book a week, possibly up into 60 books, which is 5 books a month, but we'll see how it goes. I do not want to put any pressure on myself to read, because that never ends well. So yeah, I'm just going to read what I read, and I'd rather be happy with the books I read than force myself to read lots of books that I don't like. Okay, so first of all, I will go through my wrap up for January, and then I will follow that up with my February TBR. So the first book I read in January was The Martian by Andy Weir. For the past few years, 2 or 3 years, I have read this as my first book of the year, so I decided to continue that tradition. I love this book. It is probably one of my favourite books ever. It is about our astronaut Mark Watney, who ends up stranded on Mars because his crew had to bail out and something happened that made them think that he was dead. Turns out he wasn't dead, so he has to survive until they can rescue him, basically, or he dies while they're trying to rescue him. Mark Watney is a hilarious character. He's so funny, and you get this in different formats. So it's not only his logs from Mars, the mission logs, and then you get some perspective from the people on Earth who are trying to save him. This book for me is always a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't think I could possibly rate it any lower. If I could rate it higher, I would. I absolutely love it. The second book I read in January was The Lovely War by Julie Berry. This I read finally because Hayley from Hayley in Bookland could not stop talking about it, and I'm glad I picked it up. It's a good solid 4-star for me, and it follows Greek gods but telling the story of World War I, or a particular story in World War I, from the perspective of these gods and how their area of expertise affects it. So Aphrodite with love, Ares with war, Hades with death. I do love historical fiction novels, especially war novels, and I love Greek gods, so this mashed together really well. I would have liked some more from it, but you know, I can't fault it. It was such a good book. It also deals with race in the time of World War I, especially with the Americans having the segregation, and there being insanely racist views, despite the fact that, you know, these black soldiers were fighting for their country just as much as the white ones were. The next book, and the third book I read in January, was Dream a Little Dream by Giovanna Fletcher. I read this to fulfil the prompt for read a book with dream in the title, for the Buzzwordathon this year. I'm going to try and pick a book every month to do the Buzzwordathon, and this was the first. This is a romance novel. I don't know if some people would call it chick lit. I really liked it. A good solid 3.75 stars. I have read this before, so this was a reread, and on reread I liked it slightly less than the first time I read it, but I might just not have been in the mood for it, because I did know I was forced to read this because it had dream in the title, so that kind of makes me a bit grumpy with books. It's about our character Sarah. She's kind of having a crappy time in life, and then starts dreaming about this guy she went to uni with, or a friend of a guy she went to uni with, and then lo and behold he starts working at her office, and she starts to not be able to really tell where that blurred line is between dream Brett and real Brett. So yeah, it ends up in a nice romance, and sometimes reality is better than dreams. even if the dreams are really good. So I think if you like a nice fluffy contemporary, this is definitely for you. The next book I read in January was Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken. I read the first book in this series a while ago, and I really want to get to the last two books just to get it read. Although I'm not sure if I have Darkest Legacy, so hopefully I can finish the series this year. They are chunkers of books. This to me was an average, maybe 3-star book. It's kind of that thing that they've done, you know, these amazing kids with extraordinary powers and they take down the government. You know, you've read it a million times, but for some reason I cannot not read the books, and when I am reading it I can't stop thinking about them. So yeah, this follows on from Darkest Minds, and kids have had this strange illness which has given them abilities if they don't die, and they're segregated into colours. So greens are safe, yellows are extremely dangerous, reds are dangerous, blues are telekinetic but not dangerous, depending on how you see them. So yeah, if you like a good just sort of dystopian standard, absolutely this is for you. And now we're on to the last book I read in January, or the last book I finished in January, because I did start 3 other books that I will be continuing on with in February. But that is The War Outside by Monica Hesse. Again, Haley in Bookland was talking about this a lot, so I picked it up, glad I did, really trust her recommendations. This is about the Japanese internment camps in America during the Second World War, and this is about Crystal City, which is both for German Americans and for Japanese Americans. I'm starting to learn more about these camps and the way that they treated Japanese people in America at that time. After Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, suddenly Americans decided that anybody who was of Japanese ancestry was a danger, and they put them into these camps, saying that they were being kind, or saying that they were being, you know, nice to these people, just putting them out of the way to make sure that none of them were going to kill any innocent Americans. But yeah, some of the treatment they received was horrible, to say the very, very least. So this is the story of 2 girls, Margot and Haruko, if I'm pronouncing that correct, and their unlikely friendship, one being a German and one being Japanese ancestry. Yeah, and it's really well done. It's about the 2 girls' perspectives and how the same story can look different depending on where you're looking at it from, which I found very, very interesting as well. Heartbreaking ending. If you've read it, you know, and I just wish there could have been some consolidation there. But you know, it's a sad story with a sad ending. Okay, now getting into the books I will be reading in February. So like I said, I've already started some books. So on audio, I have started listening to Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I know someone is doing a book club where they read Rebecca. I can't remember who, but I will hopefully join in on that, so I might push Rebecca until they're doing that readathon. Another book that I started in January was Little Women by Louise May Alcott. I am taking my time through this book because I'm really enjoying it and I really want to take it in. But I find sometimes reading more stylized literary works takes the energy out of me more than just easy reads. So I am redoing this slowly just to make sure I get all of it in. I love the movies. So far I'm loving the story. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue with this. And the third book that I've already started with a purpose, I actually started on the 1st of February, and that is Cinder, which is the first in the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I am this far through. I'm making good progress, almost halfway through. These are reimaginings of sort of Disney stories, not Disney stories, but you know, Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel and Snow White, and it's set in New Beijing, which is a sort of, again, dystopian-esque future world, and there are cyborgs and there are lunars, which are a group of evolved humans who live on the moon. And yeah, I really like this. This is again a reread, but the first time I actually read this physical copy, which is nice. And the reason I'm reading Cinder again is because I'm reading Scarlet, which is the second in the Lunar Chronicles, and I'm reading this for the Buzzwordathon, for the prompt of a book with a colour in the title, which is Scarlet. So yeah, I'm hoping to read Cinder and finish it quickly so that I can read this for the Buzzwordathon, which goes 1st to the 7th every month. Next book I'm reading, if you paid attention to my January wrap-up, you will probably see this coming, and that is In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. Like I said, I just want to get through this series. I want to finish it. I am enjoying it, even if I'm not loving it. It doesn't feel like a task to read, so I feel like I want to continue with this and see where it goes. And the last book I hope to get to in February, although I feel like this is quite an extensive TBR for somebody who's trying to take a relaxed approach to it, is the Guernsey Literary and Potato Pie Society by Marianne Schaffer and Annie Barrows. I put this on, the film of this, on at work the other day. Only saw bits and bobs here and there, but from what I saw of it, I really enjoyed the premise. So it's a nice short book. It's barely 200 pages. So hopefully this will be a fast read. Again, historical fiction. It's post World War II, but it goes back and talks about the effect that having Guernsey occupied by Germans during World War II had on the people, and this literary and potato peel pie society that they sort of made up on the spot to get themselves out of trouble, while they were actually making efforts towards helping get the Nazis out of Guernsey. So yeah, I really hope I enjoy this. I really hope it's as good as the small clips of the film that I saw. Yeah, so that is my February TBR. I really hope I'll get to all these and possibly even more, because I've got audiobooks going. Like I say, I might push Rebecca. I think the readathon for Rebecca is in March, so I might push that to March, and that'll give me a bit more time. Little Women, I'm not going to be upset if I don't finish it in February, because like I say, I want to take my time with it. Yeah, so that's my wrap up on my TBR. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry, it has been literally months since my last video for anybody who cares about watching. I have been not very well, unfortunately, because of my EDS. It has been trying to kill me, as anybody with EDS will be able to tell you. And then to top it off, I had my COVID vaccine because of my work. I am in a high sort of risk healthcare job, so I had to have the COVID vaccine. I volunteered to have the COVID vaccine because I am not scared of the vaccine. I am not scared of the science. I trust the science, and I have not grown a second head. There's no microchip in me, you know, all of that. I did film me getting my injection, and it was on my TikTok, which is the same name, just my name, and I was fine the day of, fine the day after, a little bit of a sore arm, but that again was kind of my fault because she told me not to sleep on the arm, and I slept on the arm, even though it's not usually the arm I sleep on, so it was a bit sore. As you can imagine, you've had something injected, you then put all your weight on that arm, it's going to hurt a bit. But nowhere near as bad as it could have been. Unfortunately, 3 days later, I ended up quite sick. My body decided to have a good immune reaction to the vaccine. So I had a fever, aches and pains, which were slightly different from my regular aches and pains, and I was being sick pretty much constantly, couldn't keep any food down. So yeah, so I just felt a bit rubbish. Phoned the doctor, they said that about half their staff had had that same reaction and it would probably just go away in a day or two. So yeah, a couple of days later I was back to normal. I think I had a prolonged episode just because of my EDS. It does make things a lot harder for me, you know, with the muscle pain and the dislocations and things. And then after that episode, I dislocated my shoulder and could barely do anything. So yeah, it's been a time, but I want to get on board with my YouTube this year. I'm determined to do more videos, hopefully pre-film some videos like I planned to do in the first place. Yeah, so I'm excited, and I hope you are too, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see anything in particular from me, just leave it down in the comments. Say hi in the comments, and if you made it this far, leave a... oh, what emoji will we use? Leave a spider emoji, because a spider has just decided to crawl itself into the room I'm in, and I hate spiders. So yeah, if you could leave a little spider emoji to live in solidarity with me having a spider on my wall, that'd be great, and it'll let me know that you made it this far in the video. So yeah, I'll let you on with your YouTube watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.